Alright guys, well today I'm out here up by Pine Creek Pass and gonna ride a trail I went on once, but I never did get to the end of it. It was a lot of snow. So we're just gonna give it a try, see what we come up with. Riding the Suzuki King Quad 750 2019. I guess there's the bike, relatively cleaned up. I'm gonna ride this Pine Creek Pass trail. I need to check it here in a minute and make sure that I'm at the right spot. I've only done this one other time a long time ago, so I'm not even sure I'm at the right point. So I'll go check it out and we'll get started. So it looks like I'm at the right spot. This one is open to ATVs. It says on here, I don't know if I've seen that before, where it says no side-by-sides. Usually it'll just say 50 inches and whatever fits as 50 inches is okay. So I'm not exactly sure on that, but. All right, well, I'm gonna get started. I'm up here, like I said, it's I think Trail 077 up by Pine Creek Pass in southeast Idaho. So we'll see what we find on this trail. I went on it once, but it's been a long time. Oh, I need to reset my trip meter. Been worried it's gonna chase me off with rain. It's been so dry for so long, but we finally started getting some rain, quite a bit of rain actually. So I'm surprised it's as dry looking here as it is right now. I was kind of expecting a bunch of puddles. Well, there's a little bit of mud. Starts off pretty steep. Hope these kind of join back up. I have no idea. Yep, looks like it. I think this trail goes back in here quite a ways. The one time I did come, there had been a lot of snow and ice and stuff, so we didn't get to go all that far. And there was a bunch of deadfall logs, so I can't remember if it was late fall or early spring. It must have been early spring because the trail hadn't been cleared yet. Well, that's all deader than a doornail. That stuff's usually green. They've really had a drought here. That stuff does die off, but it looks really bad. About it, I'll review with you again something I don't like about this bike. It's nothing big, but it's just the position of the ignition. It's way down here, and it's just hard to get to when you're trying to drive. When it was right here, you take your hand off the handlebar, it's just right there. But reaching way down here, I just don't like that as well. And that's also your lights. everything's right down there, so not real thrilled about that. The high beam switch is here, on and off, and that's no big deal, but I don't like that being down there. I liked it better when it was right here. But overall, the instrumentation cluster is a lot better than what it used to be, in my opinion. It's brighter, it's bigger, more functional, really nice as far as that goes. So, all right. Still real impressed with these Maxxis Bighorn 2.0 tires. I've put a lot of miles on them. I think I mentioned before, when I first bought this bike, it surprised me with how rough it rode in comparison with my 2014 and my 2017. And they did say something about, you know, having retuned the suspension, and at first I was real concerned about it. They stiffened up the shocks, so I was kind of worried. But as I rode along, I let a little air out, and then a little more out. I just kept doing that, and I thought, man, even after doing it, it was still just rough. Well, I figured out it wasn't so much the tire or the suspension as it was the tires. So I pulled those off. What I put on was Ripsaw, Sedona Ripsaw tires, and the guy that sells me my bikes at the dealership, he suggested them because I told him I want something that lasts a long time, and I think he's spot on with that. I think those Ripsaws will last forever. Rubber's so hard, sidewall's super stiff, tread pattern's deep, but man, no matter how much I aired them down, I couldn't get the ride like I wanted it. So I came back, and I had these tires on my 14, and so I switched them out. I just took the rims and all, because I kind of like those better anyway. They've got aluminum instead of the steel that these come with. So I put them on and immediately noticed a huge difference. So they ride great. I know I had one viewer that was concerned about it. He'd been riding a straight axle brute force, and he was wondering if this bike rode smooth. It really does. I mean, I don't know. I told him in the comments I've never really ridden one of those Kawasaki brute forces, so I couldn't really make an actual comparison, but I think these ride real nice. I think he'll find he likes it. So anyway, thought I'd mention that. A little creek to cross here. Oh, I don't know if this is Pine Creek or what it is. I'm guessing that's what it is. Pretty clear water. I think these little bridges are cool. They don't leave you a lot of room though to ride across. If you have something that's right at 50 inches, you're pushing the limit on it. Well, one thing people have asked as they compare the Grizzly 700 to the King Quad 750 is, how does this one run as far as temperature goes? And one thing right off the bat that's important to note is, I don't know the actual water temperature, because this one, the instrument cluster doesn't tell you, but the Grizzly does. The Grizzly has right here a readout of the water temperature, and I think that's a good feature. Suzuki ought to add that. I don't think it would be that big of a deal, but what they say is that the Grizzly seems to generate quite a bit of heat and run hot generally. So I don't know. I mean, mine, I don't feel the heat coming up through these side panels. On a real hot day, I feel it's warm, but it's not hot. And so I've appreciated that about it. I don't like a lot of extra heat coming up out of there, and I'm pretty sure the bike doesn't either. So I'd like the way it runs. I don't feel it runs excessively hot. But right here on the Grizzly, they've got a storage compartment. And it's pretty good size. You lift the lid, it lifts up this way, and you could put a good bit of stuff in there. The problem is that's right over the engine head. And even though the head aims forward, the heat from that engine comes up through that compartment, kind of cooks just about anything that you've got in there, is what I've heard. Now, again, that's just me rehearsing what I've heard and researched on them, because I really like it. I kind of wish mine had that, but on this machine, the air cleaner's right there. There's really no room unless they reposition it, but it would be a nice feature. Here I'm in high. That's one other thing about the difference between the 14, well, actually any of them up through 18, they're pretty much the same. They had minor variations, but they changed the clutching pretty dramatically on the 19, which that's what this bike is. And they say that the difference is you don't have to go for low quite as often, because the bike's geared in such a way that you get a little more instant low-end throttle response. Bigger than I thought. But I don't know if it's as dramatic as they say, but it is noticeable. And I can pull just a lot of hills in high. When I put it in low, it's just because I feel like it's getting into some rougher technical stuff and pretty steep, and I don't know, I don't think you have a real challenge with the belt on these, but just to preserve it anyway, I go ahead and dump it down in. Sometimes you don't want to be running real quick, so you need that lower range gearing. But I like the way it's set up, works nice. I love these aspens. When I was hiking, I got pretty hot, but little breeze and just the moving along on the bike sure makes it feel nice. These are cool though, I love them. Starting to get a little worried about the storm. The clouds are kind of rolling in or looking dark. Haven't heard any lightning. I really don't want to get stuck out here in a lightning thunderstorm kind of thing. Wow. Those trees are cool. They look like some old aspens. Here comes the rough grouse. Smartest bird in the world. Just kidding. They're sure tasty. But they're not real smart. Across a little snake on the trail, and he's getting up here under this stick. Get a close-up of him. Little garter snake. Make him move here. There he goes. He's gonna bite me. Oh, he doesn't seem too mad. Not sure that focuses on them. I don't have my glasses on. I always like snakes. They're fun. Oh, he's not too mad. There he goes. Come on out of there. These garter snakes, if you handle them, sometimes they'll put off a really pungent smell, almost like a skunk. And if you pick them up, it's kind of hard to get off of you. Anyway, there he goes. Kind of a cool little dude. Well, I stopped to change the battery on my GoPro, and man, you can sure hear the thunder rolling. The skies are getting pretty cloudy and dark. It's a little bit not so bad over there. Anyway, I only have a little bit to go to get back to the truck, but I'm probably gonna hurry. Thought I'd just take a quick shot of the bike before I go. Rode real good today, been enjoying it as usual. I call it a truck. My Xterra. Closest thing I got to a truck. Alright guys, that'll probably be about it for today. Alright, I'm gonna get it tied down. Get my pack off of here and get out. Keep hearing the thunder crashing. We just did a hike with a bunch of boys up in a canyon called Darby Creek, I think they call it, Darby Canyon. And about 60 something years ago, there was a group of girls that went up in there with their leaders, and they got caught in one of these storms and were up under some trees. Lightning came, hit it, and killed a bunch of them. I think it was 1 or 2 leaders and 4 or 5 girls that were killed. So I just was up at the monument where that was memorialized. So anyway, don't want any part of that. All right, thanks for watching.